Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Estate Huddle, and this is episode 12. The title of this one is going to be, So I Just Bought My First House, Now What? And we're going to talk about some of the things that you'll want to know or need to know right after your closing day that will make your life much better. And so there is a bit of a freak out moment, I think, for some buyers once they own a home and they're just like, holy cow, what did I do? Now I'm responsible for everything, you know, if you've been used to renting for a long time. And so I would say first step is like utilities, right? What you guys say?
I feel like our closing agents always help with the foundational of getting connected with that. I had a client who was so focused on his internet, which not a big issue in the grand scheme of things, but it was important. That's generally number two.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, so those things, the internet you can get set up in advance with CenturyLink or Xfinity, whoever provides for your area. And then utilities, Excel for energy is really, really easy. You just go on their website, put in your address and say, I'm the new guy paying for these utilities. So that's super easy to get switched over as well. And then water and a lot of other things, title typically will handle that for you.
Yep. I like what you said about it in advance, right? Probably at least a week in advance to set up internet and cable if you're doing those so that it's like ready to go by closing day. Because nowadays being unconnected from the internet, right, is kind of tough.
Right, unless so you got a real good data plan.
Yeah.
Probably not good.
You want that in
same
like day
thing.
one.
This time of year, if they've turned it off sooner and it gets cold,
Yep.
you want to make sure it turns on as soon as it's yours.
For sure. Yeah, especially with gas and electricity. You know, XL is the main provider here in the Denver metro area, but then you got like down south, you got Black Hills and IREA, or there's a couple different ones for electric or gas. So, you know, we always help our buyers know which ones they need to do and do it in advance so that it's all set on that day of close so that it's transferring into their name and the power doesn't get shut off. That's the worst. If the power gets shut off, then you're paying a couple $100 for turn-on fees, and then you run the risk, like Chad said, of something freezing in the cold weather here in Colorado. So don't want to experience that problem.
And then lastly, on utilities, if you don't have an HOA, you might have to set up trash service or snow service in Colorado to get your driveway cleared, et cetera. So normally HOAs handle that, but
Well, another thing to connect the dots, a couple webinars or podcasts ago, we talked about neighborhood stuff. It's a great opportunity to connect with some neighbors and ask them about their garbage provider.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we always provide insight on that too, as far as who the best trash companies are and stuff. And, there's a couple good ones. I'm a big fan of Pro Disposal and Waste Connections for people that are just getting into their first home in the Denver metro area. That's typically a good fit. But how do you connect with the HOA? We get that question all the time. Like, how's the HOA, how am I going to connect with them to get payments set up and stuff? They will find you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You don't find the HOA, they find you.
They find you.
They want money.
So, like, they'll email you right away. They'll send you something in the mail right away for you to connect payments up. Just know, like, nowadays, you probably prepaid your HOA payment up to the first quarter
months,
or maybe even 5 or 6 months now. I've got a closing tomorrow where they've been asked to prepay it like 5 months. So it's one of those things where you may be good for a while, but you want to make sure that that's set up on auto pay. For most people, it's just the easy way to go, hands free, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, prepaids I think is a great point too. So you're typically going to prepay your mortgage, property tax, a lot of those things. So the common question is like, when is my first mortgage payment? Typically, you already paid for that first month, so it's going to skip a month before you have a mortgage payment. And with the HOA, depending on how much you prepaid, you may not have to for a few months.
So let's get more specific on that. So like if I close on April 29, when is my first payment?
May 1st.
Well, April
Generally.
29.
Oh, I'm sorry, June 1st.
Skip a month, yeah. So June 1st, right? What if I close on May 1st? When's my first payment?
July 1st.
Still, this would be July 1st, okay? So that's the difference
3
between
days.
Closing at the end of the month compared to the beginning of the month. If you close at the end of the month, your first mortgage payment's going to come up on you sooner, but your prepaid interest cost is going to be higher. So your closing costs.
To Jackson's point, it's generally that it's nothing's free. it was built into your closing cost.
Yep.
It's just from a cash flow perspective, we say you have 2 months before you pay your first payment.
Yeah. One side of the coin is like you already, it's not free, you paid it, but the other, side of that
Cash
is-
flow's king, right?
Right, yeah. Well, and like you already got it taken care of at closing. People say, what are these closing costs for? Like, is this all fees? And it's like, well, the good news is some of that is coming back to you and you're paying your own bills in advance. So it's not all going to the title company or, into the air.
Yeah, it is nice to have that little buffer though, because you just like broke your piggy bank to like buy this house, and you have like 45 days or almost 60 days in some cases to make that first payment. So that's always helpful. What are some other common questions that people will ask or things that they need to know at closing?
Yeah, just some general like homeowner things that I think people may not know. Replacing your air filter is something with the furnace. Most inspectors I've talked to, they recommend replace it at least once a month, get the cheapest air filter that there is, and just be consistent replacing it. That's something that you need to do. And then the other thing is just some people, frankly, don't know if something stops working. Hey, I need to go to my electric panel and check the breaker for this. If you need to shut off the water, you want to make sure you know where that water shutoff is. If a month ago at inspection, they told you might forget, and once you have an emergency, you don't want to be trying to go into your email and look at the inspection report and figure it out.
That's a big one here in Colorado, especially with the freezing temperatures and how easy it is for a pipe to freeze and then cause a leak somewhere. I think it's huge to know where that water shutoff is so you can stop the problem right away. Or if you're out of town, you can instruct someone on how to stop the problem.
Yeah, and that leads right into sprinkler blowouts. I know in some other warmer climates that's not required, but it is pretty much required here to have somebody blow out the sprinkler system, get all the water out so that it doesn't freeze the pipes. And that's definitely one where I think especially some warmer climate folks might not know that that's something that they need to do. And people get busy. You want to book that in advance. Trying to get a last minute sprinkler blowout is difficult.
Yeah. So when should you blow out your sprinklers?
I would say October.
Yeah, typically October.
Yeah. Typically like mid-October, I would say, or end of October is when most people do it. But we might even have a freeze beginning of October, late September that happens sometimes. So you just want to watch the weather, see if the weather is getting under freezing temps at night. And that's when you want to think about doing that.
Yeah, your first frost date, like depending on the temperature, you can always look up for wherever you are. So you can just look up like Highlands Ranch, first time that it's going to be under freezing, and they should have a prediction of generally when that's going to be.
So a couple of thoughts on this. One is brand new neighbor, maybe you don't know yet, but pretty soon you're going to know who that neighbor is, the guy who's always on the front end of things. Keep an eye when he turns his water off. Within a couple of weeks, probably time to turn your water off. Yeah. In our case, two things about sprinklers, but it depends on who you buy your home from. So it's like do unto others. Like, this is how I want to turn my home on, because they gave us this thick a binder, which I refer to today, one of which was
For home maintenance.
how to turn off the sprinkler system on and off. We also, the benefit of us, we have a slope that we don't need to have it blown out because we have the benefit of gravity. You may have that now when you're when you have the walkout basement.
Yeah.
Anyway, but think about that on the flip side, because you're kind of beholden to whoever you're buying your home from at some point. You can ask a lot of questions, or we, your agents, can ask a lot of questions and try to extract this. A lot of times they will give you a large portion of these questions that you may not have answered yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'd like to do when I move on, is pass that along.
Yeah. And it just reminds me, in terms of getting stuff done early, there's, a couple things that you can do. I would say ask questions during inspection. That's your one time where you have an expert on the systems of your home right there. And so if you have any questions, don't be shy or embarrassed to ask. That's definitely your opportunity. And I know that buyers who take notes during inspection and ask questions typically are not the ones who have like the emergency where they say, "Oh man, I didn't do this." So
We can't speak for all inspectors.
Yeah.
Different people, different strokes for different folks. But we have several that we use who are perfectly happy to have the homeowner there, almost looking over their shoulder, taking those notes, and they'll point out, that's the water shutoff.
Yep.
This is where the sprinkler system is. This is the first box. Here's the secondary, panel they put when they redid the basement, things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's one of the things is your furnace, right? It's such a big component of your home, and so you want to make sure that you have a good plan to maintain that furnace and have proper maintenance schedule on it. And a big shout out to Sparks Heating and Air. They have a great maintenance plan where it's 2 cleanings and servicing appointments a year for $195, and they provide you with all the filters. Like, pretty amazing.
And how much is, I'm a first-time homeowner, how much is it to replace it if I don't maintain my HVAC system?
Like $6,000,
$6,000.
right? $5,000 to $6,000.
So
Just for the
$195 versus $6,000. Definitely better to be preventative and get that serviced. I know typically it's recommended once a year to get them serviced. So yeah, twice a year is, that you're doing everything you can to keep that system going as long as it can.
Totally.
I have a wise, parent in my life, and one of the things he always told us was, don't economize on your health. And I think that translates here. Spend $195 a month because the alternative is so much more expensive anyway. Take care of stuff, make it last.
Yeah.
It takes a little money, but it saves you a lot.
Totally.
Yeah. I'd say, like pride of ownership, get stuff fixed right away. Things can degrade. And, once you have that list of deferred maintenance items that don't get attended to, they can become bigger and more expensive problems. And then just another thing that some people honestly don't think of until they close on their house is, where's the mailbox? You need to get your mail key. You need to know where you're going to go to get the mail. I've had people, and I've told them where the mailbox is, but they have that moment right after closing where they're like, wait, where do I go to get my mail? And I'm like, down here to the left, So just stuff like that, where taking notes, doing stuff proactively, and listening to a podcast like this, knowing what to do, will definitely help you and save you a ton of money. And time as a first-time homeowner.
Lean on us. We've done this more often than typically our buyers or our sellers.
Yeah, and hopefully you just worked with a great agent who helped you buy your home. That's another thing. If you need an HVAC person, a plumber, an electrician, we work with those people all the time. We know who has a good reputation. Typically, we can probably get you better pricing as well. So ask your real estate professional. If they know what they're doing, they should be able to recommend people to you, so that you don't just have to go through Google and read a bunch of reviews and be like, are these reviewers crazy, or is this like a bad tradesman?
So much better that way. So you'll get some your mailbox will blow up, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as you buy a house, mailbox goes crazy. And when that happens, you get some funny pieces of mail, right? One of the first ones is you'll get like 6 different offerings for like a copy of your deed, right? So be aware of that. That's kind of a spam thing that goes out, and it's legal because they are providing a service, but they're charging you like $80 for a copy of your deed, which is free. You can just call your title agent, call the title company, and they'll give you a free copy of your deed. So you don't need that, but you'll get bombarded by that. You'll get a ton of offerings for mortgage, life insurance, basically. Those are some of the common ones that I saw all the time. And I'm not going to tell you not to do that if you want to be extra protected, to have your mortgage paid off in the event that you pass away. But I got so many of those. It was like every day I was opening another one. And then just ads, coupons. Some of them are good. Like some of the coupons are like, man, I want to save that.
Well, for like blinds or like typical new homeowner items, you will get coupons. Yeah.
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Are you old? Bed Bath & Beyond, that's a past thing. Do you guys remember the welcome wagon? Do you remember the concept?
No.
The welcome wagon, the concept was this literal basket that they would sell to real estate agents. They would deliver it to the new homeowners, full of all those offers, full of some tchotchkes and some snacks and such. But basically, it was the turnkey. What it became is, you're moving into a house. What do you need to do? Here, plus save $25 at Applebee's and such and such.
Yeah.
Years ago, remember I was talking about AOL in the sort of local days? They purchased the welcome wagon. as a way to get more local. Didn't work, but anyway, that's what a lot of what we're talking about is how can you encapsulate these needs at the time when you need them in a easy to manage and remember and access way.
Yeah.
Yep. And just one thing real quick that I thought of, documents. If you ever need any of your real estate documents, we will keep those for you. Contact your real estate professional and just say, hey, I need XYZ. We have that on file and we'll get it sent over to you. I know that's another one where sometimes people aren't the best about saving everything during the buying process. And so later on they'll say, hey, do you have a copy of this? So that's definitely something. Just contact your real estate professional and they can help you out
Certainly
with that.
within RE/MAX, that's a big service we provide.
And then, last two things I would say is, like, if you work with us, we love to throw a housewarming party for you so that you can, now that you're closed, get to meet the neighbors, have some people over. We talked about that a couple episodes ago, but just want to mention that again. And then last but not least, you want to track your value of your home. So maybe you put 3 or 5% down and you're trying to knock off mortgage insurance, which happens when you get to 20% down, right? And knowing when you should refinance, when you should get a home equity line of credit, when you should do these things, like all is dictated by what your value is, right? So if you have, like for us, we track that value every year for you, give you an annual review that's a hands-on thing, not just like a tech tool that spits out a home value based on algorithms, but we actually look at comps, send you your annual review every year, and make sure that we're, that partner for you in real estate for life, right? To help you understand where that value is. So that can be a big deal going forward as well. So these are a few things that we think you should know that will make your life easier after you buy that first home. And if there's any other questions that you have, if you just bought a first home and you're like, man, I need to know more about this that you mentioned, give us a call, reach out. You can send a message or chat on this thread as well, and we're happy to get back to you and provide information to you. So thanks for joining us today for episode 12. We've got a dozen episodes under our belt now. It feels good, and we'll keep them coming.
All right. Thanks all.
All right.
Great.
Awesome.